Well, not only do you have to defend the three, but you've got to guard the dribble and you've got to guard the pick and roll. So it forces you to stay alert and on guard. And then once you do those things, then you got to go rebound the basketball. And that's something that we've really got to put a great emphasis on.
Defending a guy like Zach Irvin, who I think he's been very hot from the three-point range the last 5 games as well. What makes him a tough matchup in terms of containing him?
Well, he's a very good shooter. He has deep range, and then he can also take you off the dribble, and he can go right or he can go left, and then he also plays off that pick and roll. So he has a variety of ways that he can score, and so you got to be on guard, and he's got to get, whoever's defending him has got to get help from his teammates. And when we have a coverage, whether it's pick and roll coverage or a pin down coverage, everybody's got to execute the scheme properly.
What was the key to limiting turnovers last game?
I felt like when we turned them over and we got out in transition, we made really good choices. And we didn't try to force a round peg in a square hole. Sometimes I think what happens is everybody's collapsed the defense and we try to make that pass into the lane instead of outside the lane to get them to close out again and then make that play. And I thought we did a really good job of that because we ran the lanes wide and then we looked and we made good choices in transition. Therefore, we were able to score out of their turnovers. And that's kind of when we've turned it over too, is when we've gone back in transition at people.
Back in the spring when I guess maybe Zach reached out to you, or I don't know if you reached out to him how it won't work, but what kind of homework did you do, just kind of looking up and seeing if he was ready to kind of take on this challenge of join the team and be ready to kind of play?
Well, he had been a starter at Vermont as a freshman, and he came from a tradition-rich program. I think he'd won 2 state championships, so you knew he had a winning pedigree. And then obviously his brother was a great player in high school, college, and now in the NBA. And he has those bloodlines, and you got a chance to see him play a little bit, and we felt like he'd be a great addition to the team. You didn't know that his role was going to expand to the level that it has, but we're also not surprised by it at all, and we're not surprised by the effort and the intangible things that he's given to us.
You saw him in high school. I guess how is he similar? How is he different from what he was back with Carmel and Eric Gordon?
Well, I would say where he's similar is he's a winning player. And he was one of those guys that the coaches of the Indiana All-Stars told me he was the one guy on the All-Star team that they couldn't take off the floor. They felt like he was the guy that kept them together, that helped them win, helped them make winning plays. And I think you see that now. I think he anticipates really well. I think he'll come up with a key deflection. He'll come up with that offensive rebound to continue the possession, get you more possessions, get you another shot. And I think where he's really expanded his game a little bit is with his handling of the ball, being out on the floor and being more confident in that regard, and he's starting to make shots as well.
You mentioned the Indiana All-Star coaches saying that he was a tough guy to take off the floor. Was that a message consistent with other guys you talked to, just whether it's high school coach or other people who just had seen his game grow? Just he's going to be a tough guy for you to take off the floor.
Very much so, yeah. And he went to a winning Division I program in Vermont, and I think it was just a situation where he felt like he wanted to get back closer to home, and so it wasn't anything basketball related where he wasn't able to play at a high level there. And I think taking the year off really helped him realize how much he loves the game and how much he wants to contribute and be a part of a team. And I think he fit in here early and fit in very well, and I think the guys really took to him right away.
DJ Wilson's really improved. What do you have to be aware of defensively to stop him?
Well, first and foremost, right now he's on the offensive glass. So he's got to be hit and blocked out, and you got to try to keep him out of there. It's easier said than done because they've got the floor spaced and they're shooting from 3, and so now it's long rebounds and that type of thing. But I think that's number 1. Number 2 is he can shoot the 3. I think you guys were talking about the last 5 games, and I want to say within the last 5 games, he shot 7 for 10 from 3. So that's 70%. And then the other thing that he does really well is he drives the ball and gets into the middle of the lane, and he's long enough and tall enough that he can score over the top of you. So you got to do a really good job of making him go east and west and not north and south with his dribble.
Any decision made on Juwan if he'll play well?
No.
Optimistic?
Always optimistic. Always optimistic.